Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some major breaking news coming out here for you. So just a little bit ago, the UN Security Council passed a resolution for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. I think most people weren't expecting this, but it happened. And just a few days ago, they tried to do the same exact thing. They tried to pass another resolution, and China and Russia both vetoed it. So this is now in effect as of today, and Netanyahu is very upset here because now they won't be able to continue their efforts to go after Hamas inside of Rafah. And he came out and said that the fact that the U.S. here did not veto the resolution, he said that it harms the war effort. Okay, so the U.S. decided to allow this UN Gaza ceasefire resolution to pass by not vetoing it. Okay, so now I ask the question, is Netanyahu still going to lead an invasion into Rafah anyway? And the reason why I ask that is because he's come out many times and said that even if the whole world turns on Israel, they will go into Rafah, they will finish off Hamas, they will do whatever it is that they need to do to defend their country here. And now I'm just wondering what he's going to do. We'll see if he stands up to that statement there and goes ahead with this operation into Rafah anyway. Okay, so we'll have to see here in the coming days. But what he's just done recently is he withdrew his Israeli delegation that was set to head to Washington, D.C. to discuss the planned invasion of Rafah. He went ahead and canceled that trip. So now this shows here the growing divide and the rift between the U.S. and Israel. Okay, so this is really big news here. And I think some people may have been expecting this to come at some point, because I know the U.S. has been coming out many times and said they did not support the invasion of Rafah because there was going to be too many innocent Palestinians getting killed there. There's like 1.4, 1.5 million Palestinians that are still there. And many top officials of the U.S. have come out and said that there's nowhere for these people to go. They're stuck there in Rafah because they were told to go there at the very beginning of the war to get away from the fighting. And now most of northern Gaza is just destroyed. So there's really nowhere for them to go other than Rafah. So this is very big news. And I want to share some information here. We're even going to talk about Hamas a little bit here, Hamas's response to this. But definitely Netanyahu is very, very upset right now. And it definitely makes you wonder if he's going to try to go in anyway. So let's give you some more information. This is from CNN. Israel cancels Washington visit after U.S. allows UN Gaza ceasefire resolution to pass. So let's read about this a little bit. Tensions between the U.S. and Israel were exposed on Monday when Washington stood aside and allowed the UN Security Council to pass a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The U.S. decision to abstain on the vote prompted Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to cancel a scheduled trip to the U.S. by two of his top advisors, and two Israeli officials said. The U.S. had previously vetoed similar resolutions calling for a ceasefire. Its position evolved last week when, on Friday, it put forward a ceasefire resolution tied to the release of hostages. The resolution fell when it was vetoed by Russia and China, like I mentioned. The U.S. abstention on Monday's vote allowed the latest resolution to pass, when the other 14 members of the 15-strong council voted yes. The U.S. ambassador to United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said that while the latest resolution included edits requested by the U.S., Washington could not vote yes because it did not agree with everything. A ceasefire could have come about months ago if Hamas had been willing to release hostages, the ambassador said, calling on member states and the UNSC to demand that Hamas accepts the deal on the table. Any ceasefire must come with the release of hostages. So apparently that's the deal here, is that both sides, I think, are going to be releasing hostages. Israel will be doing so, and Hamas, I believe they've got, I may be wrong here, but I believe they have about 40 hostages yet left to release. And this resolution is supposed to be calling for an immediate ceasefire. And it says right here, unconditional release of hostages and the urgent need of expanded flow of aid into Gaza. So they're going to have to release their hostages from Hamas. And then I believe Israel may be releasing some prisoners as well, some Palestinian prisoners. So, yeah, the resolution put forward by the 10 non permanent members of the Security Council demands an immediate ceasefire in the month of Ramadan, the immediate and unconditional release of hostages, and the urgent need of the flow of aid into Gaza. UN Security General Antonio Guterres said a failure to implement the resolution would be unforgivable. So I wonder there if he's kind of talking about Israel and Netanyahu, because some people have been saying too that if it wasn't for this war in Gaza, that Netanyahu may not even be prime minister right now. Okay, that he would basically lose his stance as prime minister. So the Security Council just approved a awaited resolution on Gaza demanding an immediate ceasefire and the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. This resolution must be implemented. Failure would be unforgivable. Guterres wrote on X, previously known as Twitter. So again, I just wonder if Israel will abide to this. Okay, is Netanyahu going to back down from his statements and no longer decide to move into Rafah? I mean, they have come out many times, multiple people within the Israeli government, including himself, saying that this is the only way to move forward. Okay, there cannot be a ceasefire without eliminating Hamas. Okay, and this is also going to require a full withdrawal of the IDF from the Gaza Strip. Okay, they've already moved all their equipment over there, all their troops over there. And, it took them time and effort and money and everything to go over here and set up this war basically in Gaza. And now they're going to have to go and move everything out. And I am hearing as well that there's a possibility here they're going to move for a permanent ceasefire as well after this one expires. Okay, so this ceasefire deal is only supposed to last for about approximately 2 weeks until the end of Ramadan. And then after that, the ceasefire technically would be over. So they're trying to call for a permanent ceasefire afterwards. So this could be really huge. And to me, if Israel's going to do anything, they're probably going to do something soon, okay? They're going to have to make a choice here. Do they go against the UN Security Council in this call for a ceasefire and go ahead and move into Rafah right now when they basically haven't even evacuated everybody there yet and engage with Hamas now? Or do they take their troops out and move them back to Israel and then wait for this ceasefire deal to collapse at the end after 2 weeks or whatever, and then go back in, hoping that there isn't going to be a permanent ceasefire deal? But it looks like right now the UN is moving to getting a permanent deal here. So I want to show you this as well from the Times of Israel. Hamas praises UN Gaza vote, signals willingness for hostage deal. Hamas thanks the UN Security Council for its demand for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, calling for a permanent ceasefire that leads to the withdrawal of all Zionist forces from the Gaza Strip and return the displaced to the homes from which they left. In a statement posted online, the terror group also says that it is willing to engage in an immediate prisoner exchange process that leads to the release of prisoners on both sides. So see, they're trying to work to see if they can get their people, the Palestinians, released from the jails inside of Israel, and then Israel get their hostages that are being held by Hamas back as well. So the war in Gaza erupted after Hamas's October 7th massacres, which saw some 3,000 terrorists burst across the border into Israel by land, air, and sea, killing some 1,200 people and seizing 253 hostages, mostly civilians, many amid horrific acts of brutality and sexual assault. Over 100 of the hostages remain in Gaza. The statement adds that the pause in fighting is needed to bury our martyrs who have remained under the rubble for months and for access to humanitarian needs. Hamas calls on the Security Council to pressure the occupation to adhere to the ceasefire and stop the war of genocide and ethnic cleansing against our people, the statement says, while also calling for Palestinian statehood. So that's what Hamas wants. They want Israel to leave the Gaza Strip. Okay, so they're saying stop the war of genocide and ethnic cleansing against our people, and then also calling for Palestinian statehood. So they're trying to get a Palestinian state, which I know that Netanyahu has been completely against that for the longest time, saying there couldn't be any like two-state solution. Same with the West Bank too. Apparently, what they're trying to do is get like the West Bank and also Gaza to be basically Palestinian, run by Palestinian government. So this is going to get very interesting here, and we'll have to see how Netanyahu responds to this. But I don't know why. I have a feeling that he's not going to respond lightly here. That they may just completely go against this whole thing and move into Rafah. I could be completely wrong, but it would not surprise me if he did that due to the way he's been speaking for quite some time now. Okay, ever since this whole thing started, his whole plan here was to destroy Hamas completely, and now they're not going to be able to do that. Okay, so will he call off this invasion of Rafah and pull back to Israel, or in the next few days or the next couple weeks, is he going to just randomly call for an invasion of Rafah? It could happen. We'll have to see. And if that does happen, expect the Muslim world to really explode here, and especially all these proxy groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis and whoever else is tied into them. They're going to start ramping up their attacks again, I believe. And I think that's what everybody's kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here. Are they going to go into Rafah or are they not? This is going to have a big effect on the world. So let me know what you think. Comment down below, share your thoughts and opinions with us. And if you got something out of this video, please smash the like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.